to a new series here on Action81.com, Coffee with Creed, where we're going to discuss race and politics across the 6 Rocky movies. We are, naturally enough, starting off with the first one, Rocky. It's not Rocky 1. And joining me, Emmet Ryan, here to talk about it is David Neary, a film archivist and critic. Dave, it's an interesting one, Rocky, in terms of how they portray sort of the racial element, because there's a clear element to, like, you know, it's ahead of its time in many respects in terms of how it portrays the African American characters. But like, it's still haven't used him in the villain role in some respects.
Yeah, what's interesting about Rocky particularly is from when it was made and who made it and all the conditions around it, is that it is not an exploitation movie in any way or form, and that comes from its kind of
even a boxing,
absolutely, and that comes from its you know, just its inherent earnesty. It's just an incredibly earnest, kind of good-natured movie. And a huge part of that comes from actually just the way in which the African-American characters are portrayed. So, I mean, with, you know, Apollo Creed, we have what could very easily be just this typical, you know, kind of villain of the period. I'm thinking Live and Let Die, you know, as a kind of, you know, an equivalent of what it could have been. And instead you actually have this very kind of complex character who's almost more modern and more of the, you know, the future of America than Rocky is.
Absolutely, like, and there is, I suppose, the politics side to it really as well. They're sort of quite balanced in terms of the racial portrayals, like the way they're very strong about it. It is still a case of, like, everybody's rooting for the blue collar guy. Like, the rich guy is still the person you don't like, but he's like, it's almost like it's not that much he's arrogant. It is confidence rather than arrogance they're portraying. So it is kind of a more, I suppose, fair portrayal of the natural, you know, antagonist in this movie.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, he is this kind of, he's this modern but all-American man, whereas Rocky is just your average all-American man. And you know, it's Apollo, you know, challenges him because, you know, he's representative of America, and whereas Apollo wants to be representative of America, but he'll never be, because he's you know, he's the 1% essentially, which of course is in itself, you know, in the mid 1970s, an African American being, you know, the representative of the 1% is, you know, is so strange in itself, and yet even the fact that, I mean, kind of switching to a different kind of racial angle here, is the fact that, you know, Rocky is the one who's the Italian stallion. Yeah. He's the character whose race is far more relevant. Far more focused on than Apollo's is. And I mean, it's what's very interesting, given that it's, you know, written by Stallone, you know, and kind of, you know, set in you know, in kind of the Italian American communities of Philadelphia. You have you know, it's not biased towards that community either. I mean, the characters, you know, Burt Young's Paulie, you know, you've got Joe Spinell, you know, kind of a cult Italian American actor there, you know, playing, you know, he plays the loan shark who keeps giving Rocky trouble, and you know, it's really balanced. It's just
the one area I really would have an issue with Rocky, I suppose, like, again, it's more of the time, which, you know, it's not so much a defense, but it's explain it. Is that, like, you know, they're very mature on the societal levels, they're very mature on the racial levels. Adrian and, well, that initial, and I use the term at its loosest, romantic scene, it's kind of creepy, to put it mildly, to watch it nowadays.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, because I think you have to just accept that Rocky has virtually no spite in him. And I think you can look at Rocky and you're not really meant to be sure exactly where he is on the kind of the spectrum, but he's not kind of, you know, he's not Forrest Gump levels, you know, he's an average guy, you know, who's not well educated, but he's not an idiot. He just, you know, he just doesn't pick up on everything as fast as everyone else does. But yeah, so that, I mean, that initial scene with Adrian, it's very, like, he's being very, you know, kind of cavemanly dominant. It does kind of come out all of a sudden, because he's so far being just the guy with the turtles, the, you know, all friendly and kind of, you know, man-childish. But you know, I think again, she has this very, you know, when you kind of look at her relationship with her brother, who is this, you know, this kind of this domineering figure,
And like, frankly, a monster too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And she, you know, so she's attracted to Rocky, but you know, she's so kind of, you know, beaten down that that she's not really interested in men at all. And you know, yeah, the only way I can phrase this is that Rocky needs to make her see that she's interested in men, and yeah, so it you know, it's definitely it's questionable. Again, that's the role, you know, Stallone wrote it, Stallone played it, and yeah, it comes off strange, but it's you know, it's not trying to, you know, be aggressively positive, you know, about any of the characters. Everyone comes off with their kind of weaknesses and whatnot, and you know, even the fact in the end that, you know, the hero doesn't win. Yeah. You know, but he gets the girl, but he puts up such an incredible fight that it's like, and it's such an improbably incredible fight that you know, it's that's why it's such a, you know, such in the end such an incredible feel good movie. You know. Even Apollo wins. You know, even Apollo wins the day. Yeah. Rocky wins in his own way, and everybody's happy. And you know, America rings in the bicentennial, and you know, they win all the Oscars, and everybody's happy.
Except for you, because you wanted Network to win.
I really wanted Network to win.
And that was Rocky. I nearly said Rocky 1 there. As part of Coffee with Creed, Dave will be with me again for our next video, which is of course Rocky 2.